Everybody, welcome to the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. I'm Missy Matthews with Mike Prasuta. The Steelers off-season program officially concluding with 3 days of minicamp practices, and things ramped up a little bit, and we also had a chance to hear from the coaches.
Yeah, very interesting to hear from the assistants. This is the time of the year where we get to do that. We also usually get a shot at those guys in training camp and during the bye week, and that's it. So some pretty insightful stuff, I thought, on both sides of the ball.
Let's start with head coach Mike Tomlin, just explaining maybe the level intensity going up a little bit compared to the first 10 OTAs, doing a lot of situational things, the 2-minute drill, some things he's controlling maybe to put guys in certain situations, but you can't put the pads on, so this is probably the next best thing.
Yeah, use of the play clock also showed up. I thought it was interesting, Mike Tomlin saying this week that he spends his time during these type of activities listening. Because he wants to hear if the guys are communicating. The hard stuff will come in Latrobe and beyond, but this is more educational, getting everybody up to speed so they can compete at training camp the way the coaches want them to. And then that also kind of took me back to the outset of OTAs a month or so ago. Remember when Kenny Pickett said he thought they're ahead of the curve in terms of how fast they're installing things and what the coaches are giving these guys? Mike Tomlin said, yeah, they probably are, but probably the biggest reason Kenny Pickett perceives it to be that way is he has much less, as Tomlin put it, much less anxiety because he's that much further ahead. So if your quarterback's ahead, that means you can give it to him faster and he can drag everybody else along with him.
We also heard from Kenny Pickett again this week since you brought him up, and also his quarterbacks coach Mike Sullivan talked about the office that he now has. He started in the team's meeting room with just a table, a monitor throughout last season where he would watch, some film and meet with coaches, and now he has his own official little place. Mika Fitzpatrick also stops by occasionally, and just, reiterating what we've heard from coaches and all of his teammates, his work ethic and dedication to the game.
Yeah, Pickett, as Mike Sullivan, the quarterbacks coach, explained it, always wants to do extra film study, so they had him set up in the team meeting room, but that is a multi-purpose room, and sometimes it was being used, and that was maybe infringing, so now Pickett has an office adjacent to the coaches. And as you mentioned, Mika Fitzpatrick goes up there a lot. I got a chuckle out of Sullivan saying that's the two Jersey boys. If they find two more guys from Jersey, they can start singing. They got little Frankie Valli, Jersey boys.
I gotcha.
It's a great show. Rave reviews.
All right, sticking with offense, what else stood out from the offensive assistants we heard from?
Interesting to hear the wide receivers coach, Frisman Jackson, talking about George Pickens. Pickens, effective on the deep ball last year, but I don't know, you could get away with calling him a one-trick pony a year ago. They don't want him to be that this year. They think he has a lot more in his game. As Jackson put it, George Pickens has to be a guy who's able to take a slant and go 60 with it. And Jackson also said that if George Pickens plays well, they're going to be a dynamic passing game. I agree with that. Frisman Jackson said it's up to me to get him to play well.
All right, on the defensive side of the ball, we heard from defensive coordinator Terrell Austin saying, there's no magic formula when you lost so many guys, even starter-capable guys, and you're replacing them. Sure, there's, the veteran free agents you brought in like Patrick Peterson, but there's also a lot of young guys on the defense as well. Yeah,
a lot of change, particularly in that secondary. And I got a kick out of Grady Brown, the DB's coach, talking about how he dates back, his association with Patrick Peterson dates back to LSU. And he tried to get Mika Fitzpatrick to go to South Carolina. Mika went to Alabama. Now they're all three of them in the same place at the same time. Grady said that was a, quote, blessing, unquote. And it's going to be real interesting. We've heard a lot of talk from Brown, from Mike Tomlin, from Peterson, from the rest of the DBs, really, about how multifaceted they're going to be, about how one of the main focuses is going to be to keep the quarterbacks uncomfortable pre-snap. And I think if you get out to training camp and watch some practices, you're going to see a lot of moving around on that back end. And where guys line up, it doesn't necessarily mean that's where they're going to end up or that's the position they're going to play. So it's going to be really fun to watch that unfold.
You mentioned Latrobe. What is something that you are particularly very interested in seeing unfold up at training camp?
Number one, that secondary stuff we just talked about, just because there's been so much turnover. And I think there's so much possibility with the perceived quality of the rookies they're bringing in, with the experience of the veterans they're bringing in. Inside linebacker is another position that's gotten a makeover. Pickens, we just talked about. Is he going to get the ball more often and in a variety of ways? And how about that offensive line? You know, one of the guys who has quickly immersed himself into the team and the offensive line room is Isaac Seumalo. You talk to any number of these guys, and the respect is there instantly, the admiration, and they think he can help them all be better. So it's going to be like an onion, Missy. A lot of layers to unpeel. But I don't know about you. I kind of like onions.
On my salad sometimes.
Hot dog?
No, not a hot dog person. Pizza. One more thing that I'm looking forward to, I think, is the tight ends room.
Meatloaf?
Nope.
No?
You're really losing me here. But the tight ends, I think it's such an interesting group that they have this year. We've heard a lot about what Connor Hayward could bring to the offense in year 2. You bring in Darnell Washington, who I know you have followed very closely throughout OTAs and minicamp, have posted lots of great videos on Twitter as well. But I think that's
daily
a group
dose
that,
of Darnell is what you're referencing.
There you go. Go check it out. But yeah, as you said, a lot of layers, and it's always fun to figure it out.
Yeah, the two intriguing things there. One, where does Connor Hayward line up? Because Connor Hayward is listed as a tight end / fullback. I talked to him during this process. He said even he's not sure yet where he's going to play the majority of his snaps. We also saw the Steelers go 2 tight end, a significant amount last year. I think you're going to see that again. The beauty of that, you know, if you can be in that formation and the defense thinks you're going to run and they put their run defense guys in, great. Throw it, because hopefully the 2 tight ends are also very capable. The 2 guys in the game at the time are also very capable on the receiving end. So I think that gives you a lot of potential flexibility. To Zach Gentry, that would not be quite enough. He said, hey, why don't we go 3 tight ends? We're going to play, as he put it, bully ball. I think people are going to appreciate that if it comes to that.
Right. Okay, well, the train's coming, and that means it's time for us to wrap up here. But it's been a great offseason working with you.
You're going to go try to get on a moving train?
As Mike Tomlin said, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
That thing's moving.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us throughout the offseason. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody.